Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin after the unmitigated failure, the absolute disaster that is Dragon Age the Veilguard. Bioware has seemingly given up on it completely with no DLCs and to move on to Mass Effect 5. Now, naturally, I am being a tad bit hyperbolic, but what other sort of assumptions should we be making right now, considering we are well past opening weekend for the Veilguard, and not one single outlet has revealed the sales figures? When you have video games that sell in the millions, if not tens of millions on opening weekend, well, that's all they talk about. Whether it was Pal World or Black Myth Wukong or Space Marine 2, we heard all about the sales figures within a few days, if not definitely within the week. Now, with the opening weekend and how just fantastic Dragon Age the Veilguard is doing, why are we only hearing about arguably what I considered not successful Steam numbers, concurrent players that could not even break 90,000? Yes, they were pretty close, but did not break. I thought for sure they would break 100,000 over the weekend, but I digress. Is that my new theme? I digress. Let's move on to this article from That Park Place. John F. Trent writes, report, Dragon Age the Veilguard will not have any DLC or expansions. None. None whatsoever. Kind of makes you wonder, maybe my little hyperbolic statement of BioWare giving up on Dragon Age after the lovely weekend it had, maybe a little too close to home, maybe a little true. They're going to shift their focus to Mass Effect 5. Well, after the look of Dragon Age the Veilguard, are you excited for Mass Effect 5? I think back to good old BioWare, the games that I played as I wouldn't say a wee lad. 1998, Baldur's Gate 2, Neverwinter Nights, Old Republic, Mass Effect, Dragon Age Origins. That was around the time that I stopped getting into, at least until 2019 and the embarrassment that Anthem was. Fantastic games. Now, if we had an actual return to form, the 90s, the late 90s and the early 2000s, the greatness that was BioWare, trust me, there's excitement there to be had, but that's not what we're getting. I miss these days where the original developers actually cared about the product, cared about the story, and wanted to make a timeless classic, which is what Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, and Knights of the Old Republic were. You can load them up now and play them for boo. Back to the article. New report details BioWare will not be developing any DLC. Why not? You made this decision. Obviously, this decision was made long before the opening weekend of the Veilguard. So, yes, the weekend had nothing to do with it. But I'm sure, I can imagine, had they sold, 5, 6, 7 million copies over the weekend, pre-orders and sales and whatnot, I firmly believe that maybe they would have changed their mind if they had more people playing it. Imagine if they had a concurrent player count on Steam on 500,000. They may have rethought that instead of moving on to Mass Effect 5. Perhaps let's get a little team over there onto some sort of DLC or expansion. Make a little bit extra cash. George Yang at Rolling Stones reported on Halloween with Dragon Age the Veilguard now complete. Thank fuck. BioWare confirms that there are currently no plans for downloadable expansions. He added the developers' full attention has now shifted entirely to the new Mass Effect as their current project because they have one more franchise to destroy. A subsequent report from Kat Bailey at IGN did detail that BioWare is not completely abandoning Dragon Age the Veilguard following its release, but will support the game with, quote, quality of life improvements and a handful of smaller content updates. I'm sorry, but there's no possible way that you're going to be able to improve the combat. Well, maybe the combat. Cyberpunk did it a little bit. But the dialogue, the cutscenes, the voice acting, I don't think there's any improving that. handful of smaller content. What sort of quality of life improvements could they possibly put forth? Oh, that scene. I haven't gotten there yet. Given the game will not have any DLC, it calls into question EA CEO Andrew Wilson's bravado surrounding the game during recent earnings call. Wilson touted that the game had breakout potential that landed like a wet fart in a car over the weekend. He told investors, it's an amazing time at EA. In 2 days, we will launch Dragon Age the Veilguard, and yet apparently after the opening weekend, come Tuesday, we will not tell anybody what the sales numbers are. They have the numbers, and more than likely, they are embarrassing. It's been 10 years since we lost its predecessor. I wonder if people have a bad taste in their mouth because of Anthem and Andromeda. Do you think? As a question for you, I almost said the chat. Hi, Steve. Question for you in the comments section down below. Do you believe the reception of Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem had any sort of effect on Dragon Age? Is that possible? Let me know what you think. Back to the article. He told investors it's an amazing time at EA. Let's see. It's been 10 years since we launched the predecessor Game of the Year winner to its predecessor. Oh, there's another question for you. Do you think Jeff Keighley will give Dragon Age the Veilguard Game of the Year? I think we all have an idea of what's going to happen there, but let me know what you think. He continued, early critic scores are strong because we value critic scores in this environment as of late, and reflect the high quality depth and detail in niches action pack in niches? Niche? I guess we do. Is we trying to say niche? See, this is what happens when I don't read the article ahead of time. I run into a little slight minor stumble. Early critic scores are strong, we don't care, and reflect the high quality depth and detail in niche action-packed adventure. Niches. Moving on. We expect Dragon Age to be a great a great example of how our blockbuster storytelling he said this. Storytelling engages and connects fans in truly unique ways. I'm trying. In a Q&A portion of the call, Wilson was asked by Raymond James Financial Group analyst. Oh, his name's not Raymond James. It's the Raymond James Financial Group analyst, Andrew Maroc. Quote, I have seen some very strong reviews so far. Oh boy, I wonder what you're thinking about now. But as far as you can tell, what drives that kind of breakout success? I don't think that word means what you think it means. We've seen in some single-player fantasy games that this game is not even coming close to matching. How do you feel that Veilguard might compare along those lines? The word you're looking for is abysmally, embarrassingly. Let's see. Wilson responded, I certainly think Veilguard has breakout potential. It didn't. Again, 10 years ago, Dragon Age Inquisition won Game of the Year, and we're going to do our damnedest to ride those coattails all the way until Electronic Arts shuts down our studio. Game of the Year, and was a very strong performer for us in the conduct of our business. I don't think the Veilguard's going to match up to those same numbers. This is entertainment. No, it's not. It is not entertainment. I think people are getting more entertainment from the schmucks like me who are streaming the game and watching us suffer. Some are doing it better than others. This is entertainment, yay. And so while much of our business has moved to live service moment to moment, thank you for ruining that part of the game industry. Get away from that. Give us more single-player games. Deliver innovation and creativity for creativity. Is he just reading a script or just making up words as he go along? Because there is a lack of creativity in this game. There is a lack of entertainment. There is a lack of ingenuity. Lack of innovation. All across Dragon Age Veilguard. Deliver innovation and creativity for the deeply engaged community over the course of time. This opportunity to bring an incredibly high-quality creative storytelling set in an amazing world with rich characters living out those stories you're able to capture. Is there no punctuation in that statement? No. Living out those stories you're able to capture that moment in entertainment. He said entertainment again. Success almost certainly follows. Oh. This may do it for Bioware. It genuinely will. The more time they take to release the sales numbers, the more I will firmly stand by my assumption that the game is a failure. Okay? Even if it sells 500,000 copies, 800,000 copies, even if it sells 1 million copies, it can be deemed a failure because let's put the income at let's put it at $70 million after, let's say, Steam's cut, after PlayStation's cut, after the platform's cut of the profits, because I do believe, just like the theater, the platform gets its cut. So, for a $70 game, and I'm sure someone out there played for the deluxe editions of these games. Was there a deluxe edition of the game? I believe so. I wasn't even going to bother going that far with my suffering. But, so, 1 million copies, an average of $70 per game, $70 million on a game with a likely budget being a AAA studio of $200 million. That is a failure. I don't care how many people are playing the game on Steam, on PlayStation, on wherever they bought it. That is a failure. Let's see, success almost certainly follows. Nope, not this time. He explained, as we see that in the context of movies, oh, you're not understanding this. We're seeing in the context of TV seasons, and we see it in the context of video games when we think about what we have with the Veilguard right now, which is an abysmal failure. We have a storied studio in Bioware, again, riding on the coattails of a studio that I don't think you helped build. We have a storied IP in Dragon Age that we are going to destroy 100% after this game, if this game hasn't destroyed it already. We have a team that took extra time to insert their own personal ideological nonsense, self-insert shit, to make sure the world was rich and the characters were boring, interesting, and the story was compelling, convoluted. I think we are going into a market that has limited competition for this category. Oh, really? Oh, Baldur's Gate 3. Anyway, limited competition for this category of game, given some of the moves that have been happening across the broader industry. Let's take a look. That statement right there, if you believe that there is not a rather large, if you don't think there's any competition, and yet your game still couldn't break 100,000 concurrent players on Steam, that tells you right there what you need to know. I don't see that as a success. I'm not going to continue with this. I'm going to put the link to the article in the description box down below for your reading pleasure. Go check out that Park Place. Go check out that John F. Trent, fantastic writer, who does a lot of the good bit of the heavy lifting for morons like me. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Leave a like if you dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTubers beg you to do. I don't think this game is a success. I can't wait for the concrete numbers to come out. It will be very telling. Anyway, bye-bye.